Welcome, fans, to the Grant Center here at Averett University, where we have a presentation of women's basketball pitting your Averett University Cougars up against the Avenging Angels of Meredith. Meredith comes into this game with a record of 5 wins to 3 losses. Averett, 4 wins to 5 losses. Miller on the serve. Stanley able to get up under it. Here's Miller going to Aaron. Aaron's shot does not find a way through. Meredith's defense proven strong so far. And here's Taylor with the rocket. Meredith able to defend. Aaron to Miller to Taylor. And again, that's Meredith coming through. Stanley back to Taylor. She has to get it over the net, excuse me. And way to get up under it by Pitzer. And that's a good back and forth by each team, as neither team was willing to not give up anything. Both teams bending, not breaking. Miller. And a set of unfortunate luck there. So 2-0. The Avenging Angels off to a great start. And due to the hurricane, the Cougars against Virginia Wesleyan and against Washington and Lee and against Maryville and against Huntington, 4 straight home games where the Cougars had to cancel and postpone some of those games due to the devastating Hurricane Florence. Another point for Meredith. They're up 3-0. And we do want to give all of our best wishes and prayers here from the Averett Sports Information Department and Averett University as a whole. We want to give all of our thoughts and prayers out to those affected by the hurricane and by the storm, and those still being affected as the rivers and water levels in North Carolina, South Carolina are still rising, and even some parts in Virginia still rising to flood levels. So we wish you all the best. And that's Abby Taylor risking it all, trying to get that ball back across the net. 4-1 for the Angels. And this would be Lauren Grody, the junior out of Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina. And that's Pitzer trying to get a point for her team. And that's Mackenzie Miller, not able to get up under that ball the way she wanted. So 5-1, Meredith out to an absolute hot start right here. Grody on the serve. And here's Miller going to Pitzer. And that ball does go out of bounds. That ball just squeaking over the line for the Cougars. And back into the game, we'll check in junior out of Yorktown, Virginia, Madison Dedez. 6'2", Cougars looking to come back here. Senior Emily Stanley on the serve. Definitely one of the leaders on the team. And that ball could have gone either way, just outside of that back corner. 7-2 is the score here. On the serve will be Caroline Corey, junior out of Greenville, North Carolina. And the setup from Miller couldn't quite find, didn't know if it was going to Dedez or Pitzer. 8-2. And even though Meredith is out to a great start right here, volleyball does make its way out to 25 points, and that is a long 25 points. So you have to play all those points just as well. So the Cougars can definitely come back from this 9-2 deficit now. They just got to keep their spirits up and can't get down on themselves. That's when bad things start to happen, mistakes start to happen. So the bad serve from Corey will give Averett another point, 9-3. So junior Abby Taylor will step up. Junior out of Waynesboro, Virginia. Ball lands inside, inbounds. And that's Pitzer bringing the heat. Meredith still trying to control it here. Taylor to Miller to Pitzer. Ball lands out of bounds, so 11-3. Timeout call by head coach Danny Miller. We'll be right back here at the Grant Center. And so we are back, 11-3, and let's see if those words from head coach Danny Miller inspired his team enough to get them to get something on the board and get points rolling. And here's Pitzer. Taylor able to get up under it. Miller finding Pitzer. And off to Dedez. Miller to Dedez equals a point for the Cougars. Cougars finally generating some offense. And that serve from Pitzer sailing out of bounds. A little bit too much arm on it. And able to get up under it is Emily Skoglund. Another free point given to the Cougars. That's probably 4 of their 5 points of three of their 5 points have come off of Mistakes from the Avenging Angels. Cougars looking to generate some offense of their own so they don't have to rely on the mistakes of Meredith. And that was a heat missile, a heat-seeking missile from Meredith, finding its way to the hardwood. And the Cougar is able to get a point. (14-6) for the Cougars. Ball sails out of bounds off the serve from the Cougars. Point goes to the Avenging Angels, and the Angels increase their lead up to a factor of 10. 16-6, Meredith leads it. And Meredith finding all the right places in this Cougar defense. And here's Miller. She's going to go to Aaron. And the Cougars, Abby Taylor, able to find a nice spot. Serve sails out of bounds, so 18-8. Cougars cut that lead back down. And they're going to say that ball landed in bounds. 19-8, Meredith out in front. Meredith's playing extremely passionate right now. Cougars tripping over their own 2 feet, really. They can get into this game. They've just got to start thinking about what needs to be done as that ball sails out of bounds. Point to the Cougars. Here's Pitzer. I thought she might have been able to find the hardwood, but not quite. Stanley able to get up under that ball. Aaron able to get up under that one. Miller. Stanley goes across the net. And here comes Meredith. The defense of the Cougars is there, just not in favor for the Cougars. Timeout for Averett, 20-9. Meredith leads it. We'll be back here at the Granton Center. And we're back here, 20 points to 9. Meredith out in front. Cougars running across some bad luck in set number 1 so far, 21-9. Yeah, just a little bit too much arm. And that ball will land inbounds for the Cougars. The score is 22-10. I apologize, you can't see the score down on the bottom. We're experiencing a few technical difficulties. We'll try and get them ironed out here in the break in between set 1 and 2. As the Cougars do pick up another point, 22-11. (23-11) in favor of Meredith. Another point to Meredith. I do want to apologize if you're seeing some blinking on your screen. Again, we're going to try and iron out some of these technical difficulties in between set 1 and 2. And Meredith will take home set number 1. So as both teams flip court, we're going to try and iron out some technical difficulties. And the Cougars will try and iron out some of their own to bring home set number 2. And we're back here as both teams have flipped court. Meredith takes home the first set, 25-11. In outstanding fashion, Meredith, very few hiccups in their game. Cougars, we're going to chalk it up to a string of bad luck. And let's see if they can come out here in set number 2 and do what they do best. Lauren Phillips on the serve for Meredith. Taylor to Aaron. And that does not work out in favor of the Cougars. Meredith takes home the first point. Tell you what, this Meredith defense is like a brick wall. And it's rather surprising, this Meredith team. Just 7 upperclassmen, and they're playing in the dominating fashion that they are. Usually younger teams, like this team riddled with freshmen and sophomores, usually come up with a lot of just, I don't want to call them rookie mistakes, but just little minor mistakes that you have to iron out, getting used to playing collegiate athletics, transitioning from high school to college. And this team is not showing any mistakes and any wrinkles in their game right now, as they are up 4-0 in set number 2 and 1-0 in set play. There's Miller. And that was Micah Patterson trying to get up on it, a sophomore from Ridgeway, Virginia. And John M. Moorhead, where she went to school. And that's the freshman, Zamaya Mangum. As soon as she gets in, making a difference. There might be some discrepancy on if that point goes to the Cougars or not. .60 is the score for right now. Point goes to Meredith. I thought Zamaya Mangum. Nevertheless, she did come in and make a point, even if that, or not a point, but a difference in this match. Even if that point doesn't go to Averett, then that is a huge momentum boost for the Cougars. Something to get their spirits up, knowing that they can find the hardwood on the other side of the court. And just like that, they pick up a point, so 7-1 now. So here's Mackenzie Miller. Across the net to Meredith. And here they go. They play short and right into the hardwood. That was number 16, Kathy Delano. A junior out of Pfafftown, North Carolina. She went to Ronald Wilson Reagan. one for Meredith. Timeout called by the Cougars, 9-1. We'll be right back here on the Averett Sports Network. And we're back here. Meredith out in front big time. 9-1. And that's Pitzer trying to find a hardwood. Instead finds the net. Pitzer able to get up under it. Stanley, Taylor, and the Cougars get a point. And so here we go. Mangum on the serve. 10-3 for the Cougars. Mangum to Miller. She's going to go to Pitzer. Just too much arm from Pitzer. Pitzer has shown us in the past that she does have a cannon. She just got to find the right time to use it. And the right strength. You got to dial back some of that strength. Miller trying to find Taylor back behind her. Taylor not able to quite get to it. Twelve to 4. Stanley not able to get the lift that she wanted. And it's not just Averett finding the net that time. It's Caroline Corey. Pitzer, Stanley, and Corey all finding the net off the serve. 13-5 for the Cougars, or for Meredith. They are out in front. Taylor will serve. She does get it across the net. And here's Meredith. And the Cougars will pick up another point. So Taylor will serve again. And ball sails out of bounds. 15-6 is the score. Stanley to Miller to Dedez, and that will equal a point for the Cougars almost every time. That is a combination. 15-7. Cougars coming back. Pitzer will serve. And it's just a miscommunication, it looked like, by the Lady Cougars. And so here we go, Pitzer to Miller. And that was Mangum bringing the heat. I tell you what, that freshman has a cannon. And Dedez couldn't quite get to that. Stanley tried to save, but not quite able to. So 17-7. Timeout for Averett. 17-7 is the score. The Avenging Angels out in front. We'll be right back. (17-7) is the score, and a dominating effort by the Avenging Angels of Meredith. They're showing off all their good stuff. And so the Cougars come right out of the timeout break, and they get a point. So 18-8. Subs coming in for both teams. And Mangum, tell you what, she is going to have a very promising 4 years here for the Cougars if she decides to stay here with Averett under the tutelage of head coach Danny Miller. Micah Patterson finding the gap. Straddling that line there was Micah Patterson. Absolute great court vision and awareness by her to get the point. And that's Patterson again rising sky high to deflect that ball. The Avenging Angels get the point. Micah Patterson's all of 5'6" and some stiletto heels. And she is rising sky high to deflect those balls back above the net. And Abby Taylor with the missile. And these Cougars are finding all the right spots right now. Let's see if they can keep it up. Here's Aaron finding the net off the serve. (21-10) for Meredith. Cougars stay up under it. Here's Miller. She goes to Pitzer. Pitzer. Not able to get what she wanted, so the point will go to Meredith. (22-10) for the Avenging Angels. Micah Patterson again. Micah Patterson making her presence felt here on this court. Dedez will come in for Patterson as she comes off to get a breather and a swig of water. So 23-11, Meredith looking for those final 2 points. Cougars looking to storm back in set number 2. So 24-11. And the Cougars, good hustling by the Cougars to get out there. That ball sails out of bounds. Cougars stay alive. Good hustle by Emily Stanley to run about 25 feet out of bounds to go get that ball and send it back inbounds. And good awareness by her team to not give up on it and send it across the net. Ball sails out of bounds, so the Cougars grab another point, 24-13. Taylor on the serve. Taylor to Miller to Shropshire. And the Cougars pick up another point. (24-14). That's 3 straight points for the Cougars. And Meredith finds the point, the set-winning victory. So they take home set number 2, and they are 2-0 in set play right here. Let's see if they can, in their minds, they're going to want to close out the game with the last set. And the Cougars looking to bring home set number 3, 4, and 5 for the win. And so here we go. Mackenzie Miller on the serve for the Cougars. And the same story as we've had in each of the first two sets. Meredith will pick up the first point. Miller to Mangum, and oh my goodness, Mangum has the cannon attachment. It's almost like she has an Iron Man suit and she takes the arm off and attaches a cannon to the end of it and absolutely rockets the ball. Great dig there by Stanley. And that's Mangum one more time. It's hard to stop. 2-all. And first real mistake on part of the Cougars will grant Meredith 1 point. So 3-2, Meredith leads it. So Meredith will pick up another 5-2. Mangum to Miller to Dedez. And that is a point for the Cougars. 5-4 Cougars got their mind on straight in set number 3. And for Meredith, that was number 4, Allie Copenhaver. Sophomore out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Went to Terry Sanford High School. Fayetteville, of course, hit pretty bad in the hurricane. Great save there. Stanley able to get to it. Taylor didn't get what she wanted, but aware enough to get back under it. And so Meredith will pick up the point finally, 7-4. Miller goes to Dedez, and she gets the point. And selling out of bounds, Meredith. Not looking like the same team they looked like in set number 1 and 2. They are still winning in this set, but the Cougars look like the better team. 7-6, Cougars trail by 1. Shropshire not able to get up under it. And Mangum laying it all on the line there, not able to get up under it, 9-6. Miller will go to Dedez. Almost ends in a point for the Cougars. Miller this time to Shropshire, and again, almost ended in a point for the Cougars. Shropshire again trying. Cougars just couldn't control it, 10-7. And that was number 16 for the Cougars, Gray Capozzoli. Trying to do anything to get that ball back over, even sent a shoulder at it. Now Shropshire sending her best shot at Meredith. Point goes to Meredith as they're picking up speed here and getting on a roll. Timeout call for the Cougars. 12-7, Meredith out in front. Let's see if the Cougars can bring it back and win set number 3. And we are back, 12-7. Cougars come out the timeout break and get the first point. That makes score 12-8. That serve from Miller goes out of bounds. And the stands are almost packed today. See members of the men's soccer team here. The wrestling team is here. See members from the basketball team as Meredith picks up another point. See members from the lacrosse team. Members from the men's basketball team. Members from the women's basketball team. And even members of the football team, all here in attendance to support their Averett Cougars volleyball team. 15-8 now. Meredith picks up another point. And of course, there is a women's soccer broadcast going on right now. Live on the same network you're looking at right now, just a different stream. Trevor Ramagos is taking over the duties of being the color commentator for that game, bringing you everything you need to know about that game. Last time I checked in, the score was 1-1. And Mangum shoots that ball almost to the soccer field. And Coach Danny Miller barking out instructions. He is not happy right now with what he's seeing. And point goes to the Cougars. 16-11 for the Cougars. And that's the Dez trying to send it across. And the Cougars kind of got stuck, and we're all pretty much standing in one spot. Didn't allow for any movement on the back end, and Meredith capitalized. And Danny Miller will take another timeout. 17-11. Meredith looking to close out. Cougars looking to come back. And we are back after the timeout from head coach Danny Miller. And let's see if the Lady Cougars can put some things into play here. 17-11. And Meredith takes the first point out of the timeout break. Maybe some game planning going on by Meredith there. So 18-12, Cougars able to pick up a point. Mangum on the serve. And the point will go to the Cougars. 18-13. And the Cougars pick up another one off the Mangum serve. 18-14. Meredith having a hard time controlling the serve from Mangum. They're able to field it, but fielding and controlling are two different things. And Taylor will pick up another point for the Cougars, 18-15. So Mangum will serve one more time, 18-15. And so her strength does get to her that time. 19-15 for Meredith. And the Cougars keeping it close here, not wanting to give up. Timeout called by Meredith this time. The Cougars have Meredith on their heels. Meredith is playing with the lead, although. So 19-16, Meredith out in front. Abby Taylor will come out and serve for the Cougars. 19-16 is the score. Meredith out in front. They do lead 2-0 in set play. And the Cougars pick up the point, 19-17. Taylor over to Meredith. And here they go. And that's Madison Dedez and Mackenzie Miller. Tag team in the front wall there, 18-19. Cougars trail by just 1 point. Taylor serve. And Meredith finally able to get back on their feet. And if you look on your screen, everybody to the right of the net is a Meredith fan, and everybody to the left of the net is an Averett fan. It's almost split 50-50 in that regard. Meredith now 21-18. They need just 4 points. Goes out of bounds, so 21-19. Cougars staying in it. Cougars will concede another point. 22-19. And Meredith will get another point. And again, I just want to mention that the Averett women's soccer team is playing the Randolph soccer team. Score is tied up at 1 apiece, and the second half is just getting underway. 44-50. It's on the clock. Miller to Shropshire, and Shropshire gets the point. So 23-20 is going to be the score. Actually, Meredith will get the point. So 24-19 is the score. And so here comes Meredith. And that lands inside, and Meredith will win set number 3. They win set number 1, 2, and 3 for the 3-0 victory. They come to the Grant Center and show that they are ready to have a great season here, even though they have a young team. The Cougars are looking forward to a bright 4 years here and a lot of things to be grateful of and be happy of. This team bended but did not break at all. 25-19 as they stayed in it in the third set. Again, want to mention that there is a soccer game going on right now. 45 minutes left in that game. Next game for the Cougars will be at North Carolina Wesleyan on the 22nd at 2 p.m. Then they're at Salem at 7 p.m. on the 25th. And the 26th, they are at Mary Baldwin. And then they will be back home on the 28th to play against Pfeiffer and William Peace at 3 and 7 respectively. So the teams will get their travel miles here in the next few